Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got the leg!
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. And it's just getting so much harder to be a Steelers fan anymore, Jerry. I mean, we are just not a very good football team.
No, it's a bad football team, unfortunately. After the game, I did a space and just like a venting thing for me. And I just felt actually worse after the space. I just don't see any bright spots, man. I mean, one bright spot I seen was Kenny in a way, converting third downs, pushing the ball downfield. But there's only so much he can do when these play calls are just, hey, it's a 3rd and 7, and we're gonna run a 5-yard out route, or we're gonna run the ball on 1st and 2nd down, and then 3rd down comes, and the defense knows what you're doing. So it's really hard. But Kenny's a gamer. At least we've seen that.
Yep.
At least we've seen Pickens kind of make a couple nice catches. Other than that, I mean, the defense got shredded.
Yep. Destroyed. I mean, we're not, let's be honest, for the Steelers fans that are listening, we're not a good football team. We're not a good football team. We can sugarcoat this thing a million ways we want to. We're not good. We're not good at offense. We're not good at defense. Special teams is a fucking train wreck. We're not good. You start the game off, and they muff the kickoff, and they get the ball they start the drive at their own fucking 2. It couldn't have been a better start for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Start the game at the 2-yard line and backs against the wall, 3rd and a mile, and you bring Minka down, who is your only good safety, because Terrell Edmonds didn't play. So you're dealing with Norwood back there playing high safety, and you blitz Minka and leave Norwood back there, who takes a terrible angle at the wide receiver, and it's 98-yard touchdown. And okay, whatever, they score on the first drive, whether it's 98 or fucking they march down the field, they scored. But then what do? You send out James Pierre to take the kickoff, and he muffs the fucking thing because Sims. You know what Sims came out and said, Jerry? Why he wasn't in there for that open? Yes. How did it happen?
Right?
How did it happen?
I don't know.
He was warming up with Kenny before I thought this was a fucking joke. I had to look this up. He was warming up before the game with Kenny. Kenny threw him a heater, went through his hands, hit him right in the fucking eyeball, lodged his contact, fucked his eye up a little bit. So he wasn't ready for the opening kickoff. So James Pierre comes out, muffs the thing. They get the ball. I mean, we're bad. We're just bad at football now.
This is a bad football team. This is a very bad football team. It's bad all over the place. It's bad on weighty downs. It's bad pushing the ball downfield when you need to score. It's great pushing the ball downfield on the last, quarter of the game when you're down by 30 points. That's easy to do.
Right.
But to push the ball down the field when you need to score, we just can't do it. When we really, really need to make a stop, we can't do it. It's just, I think that was one of the worst defensive performances I have ever seen as a Steelers fan.
Agreed. It was so bad, Jared. I'm going to give you a stat. The Steelers have had 2 23-point deficits at half between the years of 1990 to 2020. 30 years. 30 years they've only been down by 23 or more points at the half. That's a fucking drubbing, okay? Yeah. Since 2020, they've had 23 or more deficits, 23 points or more 4 times in the last 2 seasons.
That's bad. Yeah, that's bad.
We're not getting better, Jerry. We're getting worse. We're getting fucking worse. And this is no TJ Watt. I get that. And you didn't have Edmonds, and we had some injuries, but you have to attribute this to bad preparation, bad coaching. This is bad coaching, Jerry.
No, listen, he's not what he once was. For sure. First couple of years in the league, inherited a great team, won a Super Bowl. Record was always great. You've seen the trend the last like 5 years, 4 years.
Yep.
It's just constantly getting worse and worse and worse and worse. From all different assets of the game, offensively, defensively, special teams. The people that he puts in place to be in charge of offense and defense, they're
Yep.
not getting any better. They're getting actually worse. I
Mhm.
wish Todd Haley was the offensive coordinator right now. That's how bad it is.
It's crazy to even say that, but I mean, Todd Haley wasn't terrible. Ben and he didn't get along, but he wasn't a bad offensive coordinator. That was back in the days when we could average 30 a game. We can't
Yeah.
average fucking 20 a game right now. We're bad. And for everybody listening, again, it comes back to who is hiring these guys. We can point fingers all day long at the coordinators and say that Matt Canada sucks and Randy Feitner sucked and Todd Haley sucked, and we can say that defensively we've had bad coordinators on the defensive side. Keith Butler sucks. Terrell Austin now sucks. I mean, Dick LeBeau towards the end of his career, he wasn't good. We can say all of those things, but what's the one consistency? What is the one common denominator? And it's still Mike Tomlin. A,
Yep.
he hires the guys, and B, everything we've come to know, and I wrote a blog about this today. Everything we've come to know about Mike Tomlin is that he coaches the defenses on game days. He calls the game. The coordinators do not call the game. Keith Butler, when he was leaving town, went on 93.7 The Fan and admitted that. Dick LeBeau said at the end of his tenure, he was not allowed to call the defenses. I highly doubt Terrell Austin is calling the defenses right now. So you're dealing with a Mike Tomlin schematic that has been failing us when he's a defensive-minded head coach. He's not an offensive-minded head coach in a league that really has tailored towards offenses. It's about points now, Jerry, and we're not scoring points, and we're not stopping points either. So everything he does motivationally, what is his value at this point? I mean,
his value is the players like playing from him because they know there's going to be no discipline. That's what the value is from a player's standpoint. They probably just see it as he's one of the boys. He's one of the boys. They ain't going to get disciplined. He ain't going to fucking yell at them. He doesn't give a fuck what the fuck they do outside of practice and playing football on Sundays. They probably just look at him as a friend. They don't look at him as a coach. That's for sure. For sure. No way.
No, and this is embarrassing, man. I mean, to lose a football game is one thing. To lose, I can accept losses. I can accept losses because I can find a myriad of things that I can hang my hat on and say, well, we were still successful at this part of it or this part, something to grow off of, something to build. There's none of that. There was nearly none of that. The only things are what you hit on: Kenny Pickett and George Pickens. I mean, that's pretty much it. That's all we had that we can say is, wow, at least that's exciting. Is that you're having. Kenny Pickett played well. I mean, we got into inside the 30 of the Buffalo Bills 6 times, and we walked away with 0 fucking points in those 6 drives. 0. That's really bad offensive coordinator play.
I mean, this guy he's calling for field goals down by 3 scores. He don't give a fuck. He don't know what the fuck he's doing. Instead of saying, listen, if I'm going to lose, I'm going to get blown out anyway. Let's just try to score some points. That motherfucker cost me the over. He cost me the over.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Mike Tomlin is the guy who sits on his pedestal and he preaches about we don't live in our fears. That's his big fucking thing. The standard is the standard. You paint a barn red and we don't live in our fears. When you're getting throttled, I mean, you're getting absolutely throttled by the best offensive team in football, and you have the ability to go for it on 4th and short inside their like 15-yard line, and you don't go for it. And you saw Kenny. He looked at the sideline. He looked upset about it.
Yeah.
The only way to compete in today's NFL is you have to pretty much use the analytics. And I hate to say that because analytics should, it's annoying to be a nerd like that. But in those situations, the teams that win go for it more often than they take the 3 points. And we didn't even get it. Jerry, I was there. The wind was fucking howling. You're talking, I mean, it was gale force winds out there. It was howling. And he decides
so what makes him think he could throw the field goal?
Right. Yeah. It's bad coaching, guys. It's bad coaching. And we can sit up here and say that Mike Tomlin does not have a losing record and he's done all these great things over the years. What does that get us, though? It's not getting us anything.
Nothing at all. Once in a while, a division banner. That's about it.
Right. And division banners are fucking irrelevant. They're
Yeah, they are.
irrelevant. The
Yep.
ultimate goal is to get better every year versus what you were the year before. And then eventually you get to the top of the mountain. You want to continuously improve, know what you're good at, fix the things you're not good at, draft better players, and then eventually you climb that ladder and you get back to the ultimate goal. But we're not. We're getting
No.
further from the ultimate goal. And at some point we have to look in the mirror and ask why. And it's a lot of it is coordinators. A lot of it is the coordinators, man. And he employs them. These are his hand-picked guys.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I know it's only Monday, and we're recording right now, but it would surprise me. It really would if Matt Canada isn't relieved of his duties this week. It would surprise me a little bit. I mean, now it's picked up enough steam over these last few weeks to where every media guy's talking about it. Every Steelers fan is talking about it on Twitter, Instagram, you name it. So many people are talking about it like they were the Kenny Pickett situation, which ended up happening. But now you have all these people coming together saying, hey, let's get rid of this fucking guy. The season is probably a wash already. Let's get Kenny a new guy in there and see what we can do on the offensive side of the ball. So it would surprise me if Matt Canada isn't relieved of his duties this week.
I think what pisses me off the most about it is that it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. And I would love to see it happen, Jerry. I am 100% on board with seeing Matt Canada get the fucking door. He's not good. He wasn't good last year. He was not good last year. I don't know what they expected was going to happen, especially when you have, a rookie quarterback coming in. You have to start fresh. If this is the case and he's terrible and he is fucking terrible, why not fire him in season and bring in another guy that Kenny can then use this season as a trial and error with and get everything righted before we go into next season? Because what's going to happen is he'll get fired after this season. I'll bet fucking everything I have to my name he'll get fired at the end of this season. But the problem is then you're bringing in a new guy for Kenny's second season. So he's already had two offensive coordinators going into his second year. And then he basically next year they use it as a trial run. So instead of getting it out of the way now, ripping the Band-Aid off, going with a better offensive coordinator and ironing out some of the kinks that we're going to come with, we have to do it then next season. So then next season, you're kind of already a little bit behind the eight ball. And it's poor operational management whenever that is how we continue to address these failures from the coordinator standpoint.
Yeah, the only thing I'm looking forward to right now as a Steelers fan is maybe a top 5 pick, maybe stealing that guy from Alabama. What's his name? Will Anderson or something like that.
Yeah,
I don't watch a lot of college football, but from what people say and from the little I've seen, he's a monster. You set him up outside of TJ Watt. It should be scary. It should be scary. So I'm looking for maybe a top 5 pick this year, getting a guy who's ready to go, ready to compete like he is. I mean, the people say it. I mean, this guy can go 1 overall probably.
Right.
But I mean, that's the thing we got to look forward to is maybe a top 5 pick. Omar Khan in his first year as GM, seeing what he could do. We know he's a money wizard. We know he knows talent. I mean, he was the guy behind the scenes for a little while. So maybe that's the only thing we have good to look forward to. Because I'll tell you what, going against the Bucs, Steelers aren't going to win that game. There's no way they're not going to win that game. The Bucs defense is too good. They run the ball too good. Tom Brady's just mad at the world right now. He'll come out. He'll snap. He'll blow this team out. I mean, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, the schedule sucks. It's a tough schedule. I mean, we said it. It's a gauntlet. But I'm not looking forward to these next couple games. There is no way. I don't care what nobody says. This team is not beating the Tampa Bay Bucs. No way.
No, and I'm not even going to let myself fucking drink the Kool-Aid again this week. Like last week, I took the Steelers plus the 14. I mean, I didn't think they'd win. I gun to my head, you're going to die if you get it wrong. I would have said, no, the Bills win, and we'd still be breathing today. But I did take the Steelers to cover 14. To come out and to get throttled the way that they did, it's poor preparation. They had no heart. I mean, those guys showed no heart out there. They quit. And you got guys like Ryan Clark coming out today, and he's criticizing Mike Tomlin, and he's saying that team has no heart, and he would only go to war with one guy, and it's Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's the Steelers are unraveling. They're unraveling right in front of our eyes. And I get it. Sometimes you have to go through these seasons to get a top 5 pick, but it's embarrassing how decent we were last year for how pathetic we are this year. And it's not just the losses, it's the way we're losing. It's the way we're losing it. It's this shit is a cancer. It's a cancer. You start going down this rabbit hole where you lose games like this. It's not good for the franchise. It's not good for the morale of the players. It's so hard to watch right now, man. It's so hard to watch.
I'd feel, listen, I didn't think the Steelers were going to win by no means against the Bills. I would be so much happier sitting here today recording with you saying, you know what? Fucking the Steelers put up 24. We lost 35-24. We lost 31-24. We were kind of in the game a little bit, you know what I mean? We stole a touchdown late. It might look a little bit better on paper, but hey, we were in the game. We were competing, we were scoring points. We made a few stops. There was no stops. There was no stops at all.
They had one
there was
punt.
no competing. Yeah, there was punts nonstop. It was just bad. And for the people say, "Oh, you're maybe you're overreacting a bit." No way. No way. No way. There's no possible way to overreact when your team loses by that many points. No.
Agreed. Agreed. And some things that really, really fucking pissed me off. And when the Bills started to get hot and they started to throttle down on us and we're just fucking eating dirt. What did we do? Kenny Pickett comes out. We started the opening drive. Kenny Pickett is throwing the ball downfield. We're pushing the ball. We moved the ball really well. Kenny's first drive. We moved the ball really well. I mean, we looked good. Second drive, we moved the ball really well. We're throwing the ball. He scrambles out to the right side. He throws. It was a little high. It was a little high to Deontay Johnson, but it goes right through his hands. Right through his fucking hands. And another drive stalls because of that. If you don't have guys that can catch the ball, that's a problem. That's a problem. Deontay Johnson is becoming a problem. And we hit on it last week, and I've said it many times, is there's a reason he didn't get elite money. Are we starting to admit that now? I'm not a fucking hater for no reason. There is a reason that Deontay Johnson did not get paid elite money and he got a short deal. He doesn't have good hands. The guy can't fucking catch routine catches with regularity. I mean, he's not good at it. But the thing that made me mad through the middle of that run where the Bills are scoring and we were moving the ball, after the Deontay Johnson dropped catch, the next drive, we go run with Naji, who's not good right now. We go run, long third down throw. This next drive, run, long third down. And then the next drive, again, 3 in a row, run, long third down. And by then the Bills have 31 fucking points. It's over. Game's cooked. You got to weather the storm through those. I mean, you got to fucking punch back at some point. You got to understand, the Bills are going to put it on us. They're very good. Very good. But you have to weather the storm. You got to punch back at some point, Jerry. And Matt Canada sucked. He got afraid and we didn't do anything.
No, you know what really pissed me off, Kevin, is when the Bills got the ball back with about, I think, 16 or 17 seconds left in the half. And Josh Allen is in his own territory and he is in shotgun. And his first pass was a 30-yard. It was incomplete, but it was a 30-something yard pass down the field. They're up. This team is up by 4 touchdowns. Doing this to you, and Tom was just sitting there with that dumb fucking smirk on his face, like he always has, sitting there on the sideline like a fucking pussy ass bitch. That's what he's doing. Instead of fucking firing the guys up in the locker room, screaming at them, yelling at them. Listen, I'll be honest. I don't know what goes on in the locker room. I don't know if they were screaming and yelling, but I highly doubt it. He probably did something like goes in the locker room, gave one of his little dumb, stupid fucking speeches that he's been doing for the last 15 years and said, oh, let's go try to score on the first drive or something like that. This guy's a fuck. He's a crumb. He's a crumb. He's well past his time. This guy inherited a great team back in the day, and he has a ring to show for it, and that's about it.
Steelers fans don't like to admit that, Jerry. That's not a popular take, and it's been my stance for since 2017, since we choked in the divisional round coming off a bye week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That has been my stance on Mike Tomlin. The guy has gotten significantly worse since Ben was phasing out. The team wasn't getting better around him. And what makes me angry is Mike Tomlin is very, very much a part of the drafting. He calls the defenses. He hires the coordinators. Mike Tomlin has his hands on every single aspect of this franchise, one step maybe below Bill Belichick. Honestly, like that's how much Mike Tomlin controls what we have. So when we're getting throttled, we have a bad offense, a bad defense, bad special teams, no depth. We've missed on quite a few draft picks in the last 4 years in the early rounds. I mean, we've missed on a lot of guys in the early rounds the last 4 years. He lost his fastball. Mike Tomlin lost his fastball. Guys can coach in this league for very long periods of time and it gets stale and they go somewhere else and they can win again. Andy Reid, case in point. It's insane that we think we have to hold on to these coaches for long periods of time in order to win. Look at the Eagles, Jerry. Look at the Eagles. They win a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson, backup quarterback in Nick Foles. 2 years later, they fucking fire him. They fire him. And where are they at now? They're back to being the best record in football, man. The Steelers' way of thinking is archaic. It is dinosaur football that we play. You can't win with defense anymore. You have to fucking score points, and we don't.
You can't. I mean, you go up against teams like especially in the AFC, you go against the Bills and the Chiefs. I mean, you better put up 30 points.
Right.
You better, because that's the only way you're probably going to win the football game. There's those fluke games that happen sometimes. With the Colts game against the Chiefs, they win by putting up 20 points and hold the Chiefs to 17. But that rarely fucking happens.
Right.
It rarely does. That's just a fluke. You need to go and be able to the game plan should be this for the Steelers. Hey, we want to go back to the Super Bowl. We need to put people in place, right, to compete with the Bills and the Chiefs. You have to be able to compete with those teams because you can be decent all year long, make the playoffs, and when it's time to face those teams, and if you don't have the right people in place, you are going to get smashed.
Yep. Got to score points. At the end of the day, guys, anything we say, it's irrelevant if the Pittsburgh Steelers do not score points. And it all circles back to Matt Canada. Mike Tomlin has got to fire this fucking guy. He has to fire him. And every week he does not fire him and he continues to have a job and coach is one more week that Mike Tomlin is letting this football team down. And if you see it any other way, I am all ears. Leave it in the fucking comments if you disagree with that. I'm not telling you I'm right 100% right now, but I guarantee you I'm right about this. The only possible way that this improves is if you fire Matt Canada immediately and you get the next guy in here. And it's hard to do in season. That's why they should have fucking done it last season. They should have done this last season.
They should have started a new era. You drafted your future quarterback. Start a new era. Let guys go that don't deserve to be there. I mean, another guy. I'll say this, and I got no harm saying it. We'll have Nick, our producer, put the tweet up. Naji's not a good football player.
No,
could be a miss. Very well, could be a miss. He's very, very slow. The only thing he's good for is a stiff arm or a fucking hurdle a game. That's about it. He's not good. He doesn't hit holes. He doesn't have the speed to break it outside when it needs to go outside. He's breaking less and less tacklers every time I watch him touch the football. It seems like every time he touches the football, it's a 1 yard run. And then you got a guy in there, excuse me, Jalen Warren, that's his backup, that runs the ball fucking so much harder than he does. Shows that he wants to be in there, shows that he wants to play football, and he's just sitting on the sideline. I mean, granted, this week, right, they used him a little bit more, probably because the game was so out of reach. But this guy could be better than Naji Harris. I mean, there's guys that go undrafted that become superstars. That's just what it is. I'm not saying Jalen Warren is a superstar, but guess what? He's a lot better than Naji Harris right now. And listen, I was the biggest Naji Harris guy when they drafted him. And it seems to me that these last 2 years, he's definitely lost a couple steps.
I think, and it could still be the Lisfranc, and we hint on this very early, Jerry. Early in the season, you and I discussed this. A Lisfranc injury can linger for a long, long time, and these guys, there have been great NFL players that haven't been able to recover from Lisfrancs. I mean, for a year, a Lisfranc is a bone in your foot, and if this injury occurs, you have a lot less mobility. You can't push off with your toes very, very well. You lose a lot of your explosive power, your speed. You lose a lot of that shit, and you can see that's Naji Harris' problem right now. He does have no pop. And when Jalen Warren is in the game, you can see that the offense is way, way better. Way better. He did outsnap him, though. Jalen Warren did outsnap Naji Harris on Sunday by one snap. So he
was 38-37 or something like that.
It was, yeah. So he outsnapped him by one. But this is God, I hate saying this because I think Najee Harris is actually a good human being, and I like the guy from a personal standpoint. We had met him out at the softball tournament this summer. He's a very nice human being.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. He is.
Right.
But like, listen, I'm a fan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, bro. Regardless of everything put aside, I'm a fan. I want to see as a fan, I want to see my team win football games. That's what I want. No, I'm not the head coach. No, I really don't know all the time what the best decision is. But I'll tell you right now, this year, Najee Harris is not a good football player.
Yeah. And it's sad. It sucks. That's why you don't draft running backs in the first round.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say that because we all love the guy from a personal standpoint, but take your emotions out of it and just look at a simple X's and O's. You don't draft running backs in the first round. You don't do it. There's a reason great running backs fall into the second and third round every draft now, because 31 other GMs or 30 other GMs are finally starting to say, we can't take this risk on a running back in the first round. There are more important positions, and there are very good running backs you can get undrafted or in the third, fourth, and fifth rounds. Because the shelf life is so short on a running back, you're talking 4 years is about the average lifespan of a running back in the NFL. It's crazy to take one in the first round. Crazy. Yeah, first round picks are supposed to be cornerstones of your foundation for 7 to 10 years. That is, you can't only get 4 years out of it. That's really, really bad misuse of draft capital if you go running backs in the first round.
We haven't even got a really good solid 2-3 years. You know what I mean? We haven't really got that yet.
Right. This season, I mean, he'll deal with that injury all year. He'll deal with that injury all the way through this season. He'll have the off season. Hopefully he can get it right if surgery helps or if time heals it.
This is what it comes back to. I mean, maybe should we just is it wrong to say we should sit Najee, let him rest up, if the injury, let's say the injury is a problem, right?
Right.
And the team knows it's a problem, he knows it's a problem. Should we say this? TJ, you're going to be put on the back burner for a few more weeks. We want to make sure you're 100%. Najee, you're not 100% right now, by no means. You're going to take a seat for a little while. Listen, we're going to lose football games regardless with this team. Why not get these guys the rest they need? Put the season on the back burner, right? Let's see what Kenny can do. Listen, Kenny's going to have a rough year, up and down year for sure. There's no other way around it with the schedule. It's going to be tough to win football games. But maybe it's not the worst thing for us to lose a bunch of football games this year to set us up a little bit for next year. I don't know.
No, I agree. I think we're to the point of the year.
Pat, 3 concussions in 2 years.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
We're to the point of the season, and we know what we are. If we're being honest about the assessment of the team, we're not a very good football team. So to rush our cornerstones of the franchise back in TJ and Pat and Najee, to rush any of those guys back and push the injury so that they linger even further is not smart to do at this point. It's a fucking terrible idea. And if we have to suck guys, and getting a top 5 draft pick is great, I just don't want the sucking to build this cancer culture, this cancer in the locker room where nobody wants to win anymore. You can't win anymore. And because that shit is a sickness. Look how long it's taken the Browns to wipe that shit off their franchise. I mean, you can't build that. You have to at least, that's why I say you have to have heart though. If you're losing, show some fucking heart. Show some pride in your work out there. You're getting your fucking teeth kicked in. Show some pride about what you're doing out there, man.
Yeah. To move this right along, there was a tweet. We'll get into the tweet of the week segment. I'll go first here. My tweet of the week is the Cam Hayward retweet. We haven't touched on that yet. So this is the story pretty much. Right here, it pretty much said. Well, Cam came out. Cam came out and said that it was he said it was a butt thing, right?
Yeah, and I have something to say to that. But go ahead. You can read the tweet, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. So the tweet goes as follows. This wasn't like Cam Hayward. He didn't tweet this himself. This was from a different account. So it says from this guy Disco 1981. Bullshit. I can't stand Tomlin, and he is a fraud and a clown has been carried by Ben his entire career. However, Cam Hayward was running 30 yards down the field again to make tackles that the linebackers wouldn't make. Shut up, Ryan. He was talking to Ryan Clark.
Yeah. I mean,
Cam retweets this
right.
and then says like an hour and a half later that it was a butt retweet. Bullshit.
It's impossible for that to have been a butt retweet for the simple fact that he wasn't tagged. He was not tagged in that tweet. It was, the guy didn't say at Cam Hayward 97. He didn't tag Cam in that tweet. He was responding to an initial tweet from Steelers Depot, some random guy, 50 followers. He was responding to Steelers Depot, mentions Cam's name, not tagging him. And so for that to have been a butt retweet, what people need to understand is his ass would have had to open Twitter. That's one click. He would have had to then search out his name, CAM space Hayward. He would have had to look all those things up. And then his ass cheek would have also had to pop the retweet button. That's impossible. It didn't fucking happen. He's a bad liar. I mean, I'm sure he feels embarrassed that he retweeted it. And I have a theory that he probably thought he was doing it from a burner account. He probably might have thought he was on a burner.
That's a great point. That is a great point, Kevin, because a lot of athletes use those things on Twitter. And I make the mistake. We don't have a burner account, but me and you have access. We have our personal accounts, and we have the Steel Here account linked to our Twitter. So all we have to do is press a button, and then we're on the Steel Here account. I follow people sometimes. You're like, Jared, who are you following? Why are you following them from the Steel Here account? I'm like, I don't know. I just messed up. I thought I was on my page. This could be, you might be right. This could be from a burner account.
Which is even more like telling, I would say, even more of a problem if it came from a burner, because that means that's how he really feels. That's how he really fucking feels. So, butt retweet, kiss my ass. That's not true. But I mean, I genuinely do believe he did it from accidentally thinking he was on his burner, but he did it because he believes in that. Now, does he believe that Mike Tomlin has been carried by Ben? Hard to say. Or was he retweeting it because it said Cam, was busting his ass running 30 yards down the field to make a tackle a linebacker wouldn't make? Now, that is probably a little more of why he retweeted it. I'll tell you that much, because
and that's a shot at Devin Bush.
100%. There were guys that we heard after the game. Arthur Millette was going at some guys, and who was Arthur Millette? We're fucked as a franchise if Arthur Millette is the guy that we have to lean on to get the locker room in place. I mean, that's a problem. But Arthur Millette was upset after the game. He said that guys were laughing and grab-assing, and nobody cared. Nobody takes any pride in their work, and that's a problem. And that's a Steelers issue in the locker room, is that these guys don't fucking care if they lose. As fans, we care way more that they lose than they do. I genuinely believe that. These guys don't care anymore, man. They have no fight.
They're paid, man. But it's the difference between some guys, like, listen, guys like Stephon Diggs, guys like Patrick Mahomes, guys like Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes is more paid than a motherfucker. That guy is hungry. That guy wants to win football games. That guy is pissed off and mad that his team lost a football game. You see it after he does a press conference. And listen, the only guys I really see that get up there and fucking are pissed is Cam Hayward. I mean, you got Deontay Johnson. He's doing interviews. He's smiling. You don't get. I mean, there's certain guys that you just can't have doing that.
Blaming the fans. Deontay Johnson blaming the fans is these fans don't know what they're watching. If they think they can do better, come out here and do it. No, brother, we're not saying that we could do better. We just expect you to do your fucking job for $18 million a season. Catch the routine balls in your hands. For every one that you catch that's a crazy, ridiculous Cirque du Soleil catch, you don't catch the routine ones, and they're costing us drives. And something that you had just said is these guys, the Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, when they lose, they're fucking furious. And I love that fire. And I'm going to read you my tweet of the week. It's from a guy, Adam Bittner. The Bills are trying to get a first down on every single play as if they are losing. The Steelers are trying to get 4 yards at a time like they're winning. At the time that he tweeted this, the Steelers were already down 4 touchdowns. And it comes back to what you had said. 16 seconds left. The Bills are still pushing the ball way downfield to try and score more points. It's just fundamentally, the Steelers aren't even in the same fucking arena as these other franchises in the AFC that are at the top. We're not even remotely close. I mean, we have a fundamentally broken system compared to what these guys are given. And so that's what pisses me off is I can get over the fact that the Steelers lose. I can get over all of that stuff, but it's that we're not close. We're not getting closer. We're not making the correct adjustments to get any closer. The Steelers are a sinking ship right now, and you have to look at the captain. You have to look right at the captain, man.
You have to. And one thing I will say this is a totally, don't get it twisted. Kev, There was a team a couple years ago that started 0-4 and made the playoffs. What year was that?
0-4 made the playoffs. That's a very good question. It wasn't us.
1-4 maybe.
Maybe 1-4. 0-4 is a stretch. I don't know that an 0-4 team has ever made the
So I
playoffs.
was reading something, and this guy, he said that there was a Steelers team in the last decade. They started like 0-3 maybe, or 1-3, or 1-4, or 0-4, something like that, and they made the playoffs.
Mhm.
That's not going to be this team this year. That's for sure. This team's
No,
not making the
no,
playoffs.
we're not anywhere near good enough to do that. I mean, that's not even. Uh, so it was 2019.
Hmm.
The Steelers. Okay, so in 2019 we started 0-3. That was the Duck Hodges season.
Okay, yes,
So
0-3, 0-3.
yeah,
Sorry,
at
I said
that
0-4, but it was 0-3.
yeah 0-3, and then they make a run there at the end. It's 0-4 teams have a 6.4% chance of making the playoffs. I mean, it's not. The Steelers are nowhere near that good. It's not even
No,
close. It's
no,
irrelevant. We're not that good, and we don't have any fight in us. We don't have
no.
any fight in us. On Sunday, the only players that you could see had any fight at any point in the game from the offensive side of the ball were my favorite, and this is my all heart player of the week, was James Daniels. I
Yeah,
mean, what James Daniels did. So Kenny runs to the right side, he slides, he gets tagged. I mean, it was an unfair shot, and the NFL came out and said that's the legal play. No fucking way. If you're letting guys take shots like that, your rolls are so ass backwards at this
yeah,
point. He was clearly sliding. He gets popped. The only guy who came to his defense was James Daniels. I mean, he came over and he fucking bullied the cornerback who took a shot at Kenny,
yeah.
slammed him on his ass, and then he gets caught up in a scrum on the Bills sideline. And I mean, he's getting pushed around by a lot of different Bills players, and nobody else comes over to his defense.
No, nobody. Nobody. I'm glad you noticed that. Nobody, not one lineman, not one player on offense came to his defense.
It's fucking wrong, because years ago, Steelers were playing the Panthers. I want to say Sunday Night Football, might have been Thursday Night Football. It was a night game. I remember Heinz Field was rocking, and we're shitting on them. The Steelers scored 50 points. I think that's the last time we scored that many points. I mean, we went off on the Panthers that game, and Ben takes a run out to the right sideline, slides, gets popped by the safety, and you saw three linemen, I mean, led off by Pouncey and DeCastro. You see these guys, they all go to war. I mean, all those dogs are going to war. And
Yeah.
you don't see that anymore with the Steelers. These guys have no heart, man. They have no fight. So for James Daniels, if that's who has to set the tone on that line, I love it. But I would like to see some of the other guys have some fight in them. Show us some fucking fight, man. That's all we're asking for as fans. If we're gonna lose, fine, but give us something to hang our hat on. Where don't take liberties is all I'm asking.
No, yeah, my all heart player of the week. I'll get into mine. Um, as bad as I want to go with Kenny Pickett, I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did some good things. I thought he showed a lot of heart. Thought he showed that he plays until the whistle's blown.
Yep.
Standing up for himself when he gets fucking hit low, shoves a fucking 280-pound defensive lineman. You know what I mean? My all heart player of the week this week is George Pickens. I mean, George Pickens. I don't know what else we can ask the guy to do. I
Right.
mean, he's making blocks. He's shoving people to the ground all the time. You see all the highlights. He's making some great catches.
Mm-hmm.
He's excited. He wants to be in there. He wants to win. You don't see him with a smile on his face. You see him angry on the sidelines.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
dog.
he's in my opinion, he's wide receiver number 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Agreed.
I mean, listen, I've been a Deontay guy for a long time. The last couple months, he's been putting a bad taste in my mouth. It started in the offseason a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then these last couple months, he's been putting a bad taste in my mouth. Just the way he comes at fans, the way he uses the block button on Twitter to a
Oh yeah, I'm
bunch of
blocked.
people.
He blocks me. I'm blocked.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
I'm
blocked. He blocked Ryan Clark. I mean,
Right.
listen, you have to understand Ryan Clark has a job to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
His job isn't playing football right now. His job is to report on the games that are being played. You know what I mean? So he's just doing his job. So my all-heart player is George Pickens, just for the fact that he just seems like he is going to be the guy for years to come.
That rapport that he and Kenny are starting to build off of
Yes. Could
is
be very
special to see.
special.
It could be lethal. That could be lethal. He's a dog. I mean, he's a dog. We say this every week. That guy is a fucking dog. He's a gamer. He wants to win. He goes out there and even when we're getting our shit beat in, he's still giving an insane level of effort. I mean,
Yes.
he wants every ball to go to him. He high points the ball. I mean, the one play down the left sideline, he high points it, holds it over the defender until the safety
Yes.
comes in and brings it in. Deontay Johnson catches a ball right sideline, gets it knocked out of his hands on 4th and 6 when the Steelers would have extended the drive and get some points on the board there in the first half. So,
Yep.
I mean, it's night and day. So, yeah, would I agree he's going to be wide receiver number 1? I wish they would do it sooner. I wish that they would move him into the spot that DJ is in right now, just because the routes are more designed for, a specific receiver to be in a specific place. And I would like to see that be George Pickens getting the majority of the deep looks or the majority of the first looks.
Yes.
Because I think he's a better wide receiver than Deontay Johnson. He's definitely faster. He might not be as polished of a route runner, but he has better hands. At the end of the
way
day,
better hands. Yeah. He has the
at the end
best,
of the
he
day,
has the
getting
best
open
hands on the
shit.
offense. The best
Agreed.
hands on the offense.
Agreed. And it's very frustrating that it took us so long to get him involved. And again, it comes back to, why did it take us so long to get him involved? Because
Yeah.
our offensive coordinator is not fucking good. He's not
Yeah.
good. It's been frustrating. It was frustrating to lose money on the game. The betting was not good for either of us on Sunday.
No.
I mean, to recap, Jerry had over 45.5, and because it was so windy and Boswell couldn't make a field goal there in the first half, that did not hit because Tomlin didn't have any balls and wouldn't go for it when it's so obvious you go for it. He didn't do that. That didn't help matters. It hurt. I mean, it really did hurt.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It's tough, would have hit my bet if the Steelers could have scored one offensive touchdown. I hit my bet. And another thing I'll bring it back to, 5 games into the NFL football season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, a wide receiver has yet to score a touchdown. That is laughable. That is laughable.
That's absolutely horrible. I mean, so that's bad offensive coordinator stuff, Jerry. That's just bad.
If they told me at the beginning of the year, if they said, "Hey, Jerry, you have $1 million, you could either bet yes or no to this. Will a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver score a touchdown within the first 5 weeks of the season?" I would say it'd be the easiest $1 million I would ever win in my life.
Agreed. I don't know how you could think that wouldn't be a home run of a bet, because if you don't score a wide receiver touchdown through 5 weeks, you're the worst team in football. Hey, well, guess what? We're the worst team in football, so it makes sense. I mean, I had the Steelers plus 14, got smoked on that. I mean, I sprinkled some other bets. I had Pickens over 3.5 catches. I had him over 35.5 receiving yards. I had Pickett over 199.5. So I hit all those props, but I lost the biggest bet, which was the Steelers to cover 14. So on the season, I'm 2-3. On the season, Jerry is 2-3. This week, the betting doesn't look any better for us. The Steelers are home dogs.
I'm taking the Bucks. I don't care. I'm saying it now. I'm taking the Bucks -8. I'm just doing it. Steelers a huge home dog, probably the largest home dog they might have ever been. I don't know if that's true, but it makes sense if it is. They're 8-point underdogs at home. I'll take an angry Tom Brady over an angry Mike Tomlin. I'll do it.
Agreed. I'm taking the under 43.5 just because our offense is so bad. The Bucs D is actually pretty damn good. I don't see us being able to move the ball. I don't know what we're going to build off of last week. There's not really much to build off of. So I'm going to take the under as far as this week is concerned. Again, if you guys want to do any of the betting, check out the Barstool Sportsbook app. That's where you're going to find where Jerry and I look at the lines at. Even the advice they're giving us, it's hard to bet on the Steelers, guys. So hang in there. I mean, it's going to be a long season. There's not really much to get excited about right now, but if there is one thing that you can be excited from the future, it's that Kenny Pickett does look like he could be something. Kenny Pickett does look like a good quarterback, and that's, at the end of the day, that's the most important part of a franchise, is do you have a guy who can sling the rock? So I am excited for Kenny Pickett. Other than that, not much, guys. No. And I don't expect us to have a great time on Sunday against the Buccaneers, but what can you do? I'll still be there. I'm not going to give up on them. I still am going to go just because I love this shit so much, but it's not been enjoyable. So I get all the rage and frustration that we're all sharing in.
Yeah. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter, like, comment, subscribe. It goes a long way. Me and Kevin have started to do these Twitter spaces that have been great. A lot of people come in, a lot of people have the chance to talk, speak their mind, and just give some pointers. So yeah, man, it's awesome. We love doing this. Make sure if you can like, subscribe, comment. It helps a lot, goes a long way. All you got to do is pretty much type in Jersey Jerry on YouTube, and that will be where all the Steelers stuff for Steel Here gets posted, where the podcast is, and on Twitter we have a bunch of clips that we put out weekly. So I'll see you guys next week.
All right, we'll see you guys.
We're here. We're Steel here.
We are still here.